Today's video is going to be on feedstuffs and what feedstuffs I feed to my cows and how I feed my cows. We're going to start with the ingredients to my feed. It's just like, for us, rations are what we feed cows. So it's like a cookie. We feed them instead of it being a cookie, it's a ration. And each ration has different ingredients in it. So when you're baking cookies, you put different ingredients into your cookies to make a cookie. So I'm going to start off with, we start combining in the fall, and this is what gets combined, is an ear of corn. And what the combine does is it shells it off the cob, and it makes it into corn. So this is what corn is. You know, when you think corn, you think shelled corn. Well, what we do is we take it a step extra, and we grind it into this fine powder. And by grinding it, our cows are able to utilize the starches that are in it. And then, so we have ground corn, and then there's actually another piece of the corn process during harvest. This is distillers. It's dry distillers, so it's nice and powdery. And what that is that's what's left after they take ethanol out of it. And then we have corn silage. Corn silage is the whole corn plant and everything. It's harvested in September. You cut it right down to the ground. It takes the stalk, the ear of corn, everything, and it's a wet product. So when you get it in the pile, they pack it, and then it fermentates, and then it becomes silage. And we also have another silage product here called this is forage barley silage here, and you can tell in here that there's no corn, no kernels, no nothing. It's more of just like a grass silage. And then you have the grass hay. All of our hay is ground. This is ground grass hay. This is ground alfalfa. And this is ground corn stalks. So this is actually another piece of the corn process we have. We use the kernel, we use the distillers, we use the whole product, which is silage, and then we use what's left over after the corn is harvested, and that's the stalks. The reason we grind our hay is because hay is in it comes in big stemmy pieces like this. This is the grass hay. So if you imagine this is grass hay and that's grass hay. And then this is what the corn stalks look like. Big hard stalks, soft little leaves, and then the cobs. And then the alfalfa here. This is what cows love, is alfalfa. So then you have the alfalfa. So we grind it all down. You can tell it's all kind of the same particle size. Particle size is very important in the cows because cows eat with their tongues. They don't pick up and use their hooves to eat. They don't eat they don't just take big bites out of it like your dog does. They eat with their tongue. So when they're eating with their tongue, they sort really bad. And when they're sorting, they'll sort out something that's bigger. They'll be like, I don't really like grass hay compared to alfalfa hay, or I don't really like grass compared to corn. And if you mix this with corn's just going to fall right through it, and it's a lot harder to get it to pack together. So by making the particle sizes all about the same size, we're able to force feed them more things like the corn stalks, because corn stalks really don't have any taste. They're not their favorite thing to eat, but it has a lot of fiber. And in the wintertime, a lot of fiber is important because cows chew their cuds. When they chew their cuds, they produce energy, and that's how they keep warm, and that's how they survive the winter. So if they have more forage to chew on, they're going to be a lot better off. So this is kind of how we do it. If you look behind me here, these hay piles, they're just huge. Well, that's because each pile is filled of about 90 bales. 90 bales in a stack. Like that over there is like a stack of about 90 right now. And so it breaks it down and it makes it smaller, and we pile it so then we can come in with our skid loader and load it on the wagon. Everything goes into a mixer wagon. It's kind of like the mixer you use for your cookies, only it's a little bit more sophisticated for the farm. So that puts everything in there, and it just mixes it all up so then we can pour the ration out. And I'm going to show you guys how we do it. And it's kind of boring, but it's what I do every day for 2 hours every morning and night. except for the corn. The corn's going in right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how the feeder wagon kind of operates. As you were seeing when I was filling, the numbers on the scale kept going up. Well, instead of, like when you're baking cookies again, you use a cup of sugar, a cup of butter, 4 cups of flour. Well, instead of using cups, we use pounds, and that's how we tell how much of each product is going into the feeder wagon. And it gets really, I can go really in depth about it, but basically it's just each ingredient has different nutritional values, and by feeding so much of each one, we can alter how much protein and how much fiber each cow is taking in. But this is the feeder wagon tractor and the feeder wagon. These new tractors are kind of nice because you can start the PTO back here with the button. Okay, and what that button does is it starts my PTO. And what the PTO does is it runs my augers on the inside. My augers are what mix it. So it's like the beaters in the cookie blender. So I have 3 augers. There's 1 in the bottom and 2 on the top. And so while those are running, it mixes up my feed in the wagon here. See, there's my 2 augers on the top and the 1 in the bottom. This isn't a very full load, so the wagon's only about half full. It's just mixing it up. You can see I got some corn here that hasn't gotten mixed in very well. It just takes it and mixes it. And the top 2 augers, each auger runs a little bit differently. The top 2 pull the feed to the back of the wagon, and the bottom one pulls the feed to the front of the wagon. So when it mixes it, and then when you're feeding, the bottom one pulls it to the apron so you can dump it. But this is how it works. It's just nothing too fancy. It's regular day at my place. I'm going to finish putting the corn in, and then we'll go feed some cows. So we're in the feeder wagon tractor right now. Our feeder wagon's run by a tractor. Some guys have feeder wagons that are run by trucks. Ours is a tractor operation. Behind me is the feeder wagon, and you'll see there's a scale head on there with a weight on it. We're feeding the heifers right now, and everything on our place is fed by the amount of pounds or whatever. So they get so many pounds of dry matter per cow. That's how we figure out the rations. So these guys, I'm just going to start feeding them because otherwise they're going to have a fit because they think they're starving to death. I run everything off of hydraulic levers in the tractor, kind of like when we did the manure spreader. Everything's run off of that. So I start my PTO, I open my door, and then I just start feeding. And you gotta make sure you feed the whole way down the bunk line because cows are funny like that. Like there's always a cow that'll be at the front of the bunk line, and there's always a cow that'll be at the back of the bunk line. Everybody has their own spot at the table, kind of like probably at your guys' houses. You each have your own spot at the dinner table, and that's kind of how cows are. So it's very important to get an even feed delivery so that everybody gets fed. And it takes a lot of focusing, so I'm sorry if I get kind of quiet. But because I'm driving, I'm running the feed, and I'm trying to do math at the same time, so sometimes it gets kind of hard. And I'm trying not to spill a whole lot or run anything over. So, but yeah, that's just how we feed. Everything comes out in a mixed ration. That's what you see in the bunk there. Back up a little bit so you can see. What you see in the bunk there is the finished mixed ration. That's what all the feedstuffs look like when they're mixed together. You can hardly tell that there's any corn in there, any distillers. You can't tell the grass hay from the alfalfa or the corn stalks from the grass hay. So it helps so they can just dig in and eat right away. And they don't sort it out.